Imagine a calendar etched in stone depicting events that haven't occurred yet, with shocking accuracy. Not just a vague prophecy, but specific dates, names, and even outcomes. In 2003, deep within a forgotten cave in the remote highlands of Peru, a team of archaeologists stumbled upon just such an artifact. A calendar far older than any known civilization that meticulously chronicled the rise and fall of empires, global catastrophes, and technological breakthroughs. The problem? Many of these events were still centuries away. How could a civilization that predates written history foresee the future with such chilling precision? To understand the chilling implications of this artifact, we need to go back to Professor Elena Rodriguez and her team. They weren't looking for a calendar. They were searching for traces of a pre-Incan civilization, a mythical sunken city whispered about in local folklore. The cave, a narrow fissure in the rock face, was a last-ditch effort after weeks of fruitless digging. Inside, the air was still and thick with the scent of damp earth. It was Dr. Ben Carter, the junior paleontologist, who first spotted it. A sprawling circular edifice carved directly into the cave wall, glowing faintly under the beam of his headlamp. It wasn't just a carving, it was intricately detailed, a complex web of symbols and astronomical alignments unlike anything they had ever encountered. Initial carbon dating tests, conducted on organic residue found within the cave, pushed the artifact's age back by millennia, placing its creation firmly in a time when humans were barely developing rudimentary tools. This wasn't some advanced Incan creation. It was something far, far older. The carvings depicted celestial bodies, yes, but also terrestrial events, floods, droughts, even what appeared to be architectural blueprints. The team, exhilarated by the discovery, initially dismissed any prophetic notions. It was merely an ancient understanding of cyclical events, a sophisticated astrological chart, they reasoned. That illusion, however, was about to shatter. As the painstaking process of cataloging and translating the symbols began, a quiet unease settled over the research team. Dr. Anya Sharma, a brilliant but notoriously skeptical linguist, spearheaded the decipherment. She noticed patterns, repeated glyphs that seemed to correspond with known historical events. The eruption of Vesuvius, depicted not as a general disaster but with a specific date, and even an abstract representation of Pompeii's destruction. The fall of the Roman Empire, meticulously outlined not by its general decline but by key figures and decisive battles. For months, these historical matches were attributed to coincidence, perhaps a lucky guess by the ancient creators, or a misinterpretation on their part. But then came the modern events. The team had established a baseline, a key to translating the calendar's cryptic language. And as they applied this key to the unread sections, the anomalies began. Warnings of World War I described with uncanny parallels to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The Great Depression, illustrated with economic downturns and social unrest. Each time, the team's initial reaction was disbelief, followed by a frantic double-checking of their work. They consulted other scholars, brought in independent researchers, but the results were always the same. The calendar was describing events that had happened, with details no ancient civilization could have known. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a calendar, it was a historical record of the future. The weight of this revelation was immense, suffocating. Some members of the team even began to experience anxiety attacks, waking nightmares. How could something so old, so primitive, possess such knowledge? The initial skepticism morphed into a chilling certainty, leaving them to grapple with a question that echoed through the empty chambers of the cave. What else did this calendar hold? What horrifying truths were yet to be revealed? The turning point came with the discovery of the seventh cycle. This section wasn't etched in the same faded style as the others. It was bolder, almost glowing with an internal luminescence, as if freshly carved. Dr. Sharma, pale and trembling, presented her findings to the team. The seventh cycle began in late 2019. It meticulously detailed a global pandemic, describing its rapid spread, the overwhelmed healthcare systems, and the profound societal shifts. It described the development of vaccines, the economic fallout, even the rise of specific social movements, all with unnerving accuracy. The team watched, stunned, as these predictions, once abstract symbols, played out in real time on global news. But the calendar didn't stop there. The latter part of the seventh cycle, the section they were currently decoding, was focused on an event scheduled for the mid-2030s. It wasn't a natural disaster or a war between nations. It was something far more insidious, a great forgetting. The glyphs showed human figures losing their memories, not of personal experiences, but of fundamental knowledge, science, history, even language itself. It depicted advanced societies regressing, infrastructure crumbling, and a new primitive order emerging from the ashes of forgotten knowledge. The symbols were chillingly specific, the gradual onset, starting with trivial forgetfulness and escalating into a terrifying societal amnesia. It showed people staring blankly at books they once read, unable to comprehend the words. Engineers forgetting how to operate complex machinery, doctors forgetting basic medical procedures. This wasn't a plague of the body, but of the mind, a systematic erosion of collective memory, leading humanity back into a dark age. What worried the team most was a series of connected glyphs depicting a celestial alignment preceding this great forgetting, an alignment of cosmic bodies, invisible to the naked eye, that would somehow trigger this catastrophic cognitive decline. They scrambled using advanced astronomical software to predict such an alignment. And there it was, a pattern of celestial events that had no known historical precedent, perfectly aligning with the calendar's chilling prophecy for the mid-2030s. Professor Rodriguez, usually stoic, was visibly shaken. "This isn't a warning, it's a blueprint," she whispered, the horrifying realization dawning on everyone present. To this day, the Atacama Calendar remains in a heavily guarded, undisclosed location. The team, now under strict government oversight, continues their agonizing work, desperate to find an answer, a mitigation, anything that might avert the great forgetting. They've explored every hypothesis: alien intervention, a highly advanced lost civilization, even a bizarre form of temporal bleed-through, but every theory crumbles under the weight of the calendar's irrefutable accuracy. The public knows nothing of its true nature. The cover story remains that it's an important but otherwise conventional archaeological find. The truth, however, is a burden that weighs heavily on the few who know. They live with the terrifying knowledge that humanity's fate might already be sealed, etched in stone millennia ago. And as the celestial alignment predicted for the mid-2030s draws ever closer, the question isn't just how this calendar came to be, but whether humanity has any hope of escaping the chilling prophecy of the great forgetting. The answer, like the calendar itself, remains shrouded in ancient mystery. If you want more mysteries like this, the next video explores the strange case of the vanishing city, a metropolis that appeared on maps for centuries, then inexplicably disappeared without a trace.